I'm Zach. This is John. We're from the band Portugal the Man. We are big fans and collaborators of and with Weird Al Yankovic. And I've been obviously grew up with listening to him, and he showed us amazing things. And big fans of all you guys here in this room too. And yeah, for those, I don't know, we just started the recording, but yeah, we found out about this like hours ago, pretty much. And so we jumped down here to do this, and I'm super prepared. But I'm just gonna go from my screen how I would read this. So Dave, would you like to introduce yourself, and we'll just kind of go down the line?
Isn't there a my screen, your screen, we all screen for something?
Yeah, there's got to be something like that. There is now.
My name is David Anthony Pirner. I started Soul Asylum in 1981. You know it's more than me. Wow.
Nice.
That's my story. What else should I say?
Tell us about the 80s.
Winning fucking badass of a great guy, and I'm not an asshole, and I love music, and I'm I don't know what the word is. I feel really sort of blessed to be able to play music for a living. I just never thought it was possible.
Word. Same.
That's my story.
All right.
I don't know who's next in line because my arrangement is different than yours.
Go for it, Chris.
Oh, me. Okay. I'm Chris Ballew. I was the lead singer and songwriter for the Presidents of the United States of America, professional rock band from Seattle, Washington, USA. And now I make music for little kids and families as Casper Baby Pants. I've got almost 20 records out doing that. And Al has played on some of my Casper stuff. He parodied our song Lump back in the 90s. I don't want to blow all my Al stories in the introduction. So I'm just, we after the parody, we became good friends. And so we've just crossed paths many, many times. In fact, I just emailed him last night to tell him I was doing this thing. And I'll share with you what he said later on. But so we're just kind of, friends and collaborators, and I love him. He's he's a stellar human being.
Great.
Agreed.
Cool.
Am I next?
You are next.
Am I last but not least? Mike Mills here. I play with the R.E.M combo. We've got a lot of touchstones with Al over the years, but I've only just recently we connected via DM, and then we've emailed a few times, and I'm a huge fan. And a lot of those little touchstones, I'm sure will come out in the forthcoming conversation.
If I figure out how to ask any questions.
What band did you say you played in?
But I want to point out I'm drinking tea out of a Dressy Bessie mug.
Oh, I thought that was the DBs, maybe, actually.
That would be, I wish I had a DB's mug, but this was a gift for singing on one of their songs. So here's to John and Tammy and all those guys.
I was encouraged by an extremely drunken Peter Holsapple in CBGB's one afternoon in 1986. He was drunken. I was not. He just as a weird side note, he cornered me and told me that he had this gut feeling that I was going to make it.
Great! Wow.
So maybe the drunken touch of Peter Holsapple is all you need to really, get over the hump.
Well, there's nothing quite like the drunken touch of Peter Holsapple. I will say that. But no, Peter's a great guy, and he's getting back into making music now, which is a great thing too.
I think Peter told me to not quit my day job.
He's like a crystal ball, man.
Some sort of drunken interaction is key.
Yeah.
No matter what he really says.
Well, I was a huge DB's fan at the time, and I couldn't believe he was sitting there. And I just went over and said hi, and he's like, "Sit down." And I was with my girlfriend, and we just after an hour of conversation, he's like, "You're gonna go somewhere, kid."
Just don't go to the CBGB bathroom, whatever you do.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I lost my foot. Well, I was in my buddy's basement in 1980. I don't remember the date, but when MTV flickered to life, he had a projection television, and it was just like this, 6 by 8 foot screen, and we literally sat there waiting for whatever it was, the time it flickered on, and Video Killed the Radio Star played, and we were sold. We were just like, duh. So my introduction to Weird Al was MTV, like hours and hours drinking beer with my punk rock friends, hoping for something good to come on MTV. And, to us, good was like Split Ends, or, R.E.M, of course, was like a win when we got that. But eventually we kind of made You Got Another Thing Coming by Judas Priest a win, because they played that like once an hour. Sure, yeah. So anyway, Weird Al was woven into that experience. That was my, just sort of always thought of him as among those, among those guys.
That's a good song. You Got Another Thing Coming.
Oh, it's a great song. Yeah. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying, like, we weren't heavy metal fans really, but we like, okay, we'll take that one. We'll call that one cool, because
I was all about Headbangers Ball, man. That was like, my older cousin moved into my house when I was 4. And so my dad got cable to try to keep her in the house. And yeah, it was all Headbangers Ball for like, that's all I remember of my childhood. And TV pretty much was MTV.
Sure.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Mike, what about you? When was your first interaction?
I can't remember what the first Weird Al video I saw was. The one that sticks out in my head earliest was Fat, because it was just so genius. I mean, the thing about Weird Al and his stuff that just blows my mind is the musicianship. It's so incredible that it's almost that, and this is a compliment, it's almost that you don't notice how good it is. It just frees you up to listen to the genius of the lyrics. If the music weren't up to snuff, you'd be taken out of the moment. You'd be thinking, the music's kind of, he's not really doing it right. But that never even occurs to you. I was just listening to Spam, doing a little homework, and listening to Spam, the video that he did for Stan from R.E.M. And, he nailed all the little stuff that's in there that I'd forgotten about. I said, oh yeah, I did that. That was pretty cool. One cool thing that when I was out west not long ago, I can't remember where I found this music, but there's a guy named Jim West, and I don't know if it's Kyma is his nickname. I don't know if it's Kyma or Kima. I think it's Kyma. And I got into Jim West music. He plays beautiful Hawaiian slack key guitar. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. So I listened. I've got several of his CDs, and I just enjoyed that for a while. And then I decided to Google him. And I found out that Jim is from that slack bed hotspot of Canada, which was a big surprise to me. I just thought he was some haole living in, Kauai with everybody else. And then further down his Wikipedia page, whatever, I saw that he was in Weird Al's band. He's Weird Al's guitar player.
Yeah.
And I was like, what a gig Jim West has, that he makes his own slack key records, and he's in Weird Al's band. And I get the feeling he's responsible for a good deal of that really tasty guitar work that goes on in there. Yeah. And then so later, Al, I guess he might have asked our permission. He doesn't have to ask permission to do songs, but he does, which is really cool of him. And we were like, please, do 6 of them if you want to. We don't care. And he did Spam, which was really funny. So I've just been a fan for a long time.
I mean, what's it like? Like, we've got to work with him and on some things, but like, he's never done just a straight up parody. Like, was that just, how was that? How was that getting that call, I guess?
It was just, is that Dave's turn? Sorry, I don't mean to jump on Dave.
I did ask Dave, but by all means, everybody.
No, go Dave.
Come on, Lord Millsy.
Take it, Dave.
Got to bug the whole Zoom thing, man.
Man, I'm having coffee and tea. I'm jacked.
We were playing at a club, me and my guitar player, Danny, we'd occasionally go do acoustic gigs. And I want to say that, which is why I was confused about where Chris lives. The first time I saw Weird Al was in San Francisco, and it was this bar called, I want to say it was called the Night Train. Anyways, we're playing acoustically, and way in the back of the room, I'm looking, and like right in the middle of our set, I looked at Danny and I went, is that Weird Al back there? And he's like, that is definitely Weird Al. So that was the first time I laid eyes on the man. I think basically, I discovered him through MTV, I'm pretty sure. And he did not, to my knowledge, ask permission. And that's why I thought the Coolio thing was interesting, because I heard that Coolio was not happy with his Weird Al treatment. So I'm like, oh, cool, he's doing this. And I thought, wow, it's a Stevie Wonder song. So the whole thing gets kind of weird. I just said that. The whole thing gets weird. Yeah. Anyways, so when I heard it, I think it should be a cliche. I was like, well, you've made it when Weird Al covers one of your songs. I mean, that was
true. Having grown up watching him on MTV and, aspiring to want to join that, echelon, to have him play me in a video was like crazy balls, like that's Weird Al with no hair and rocking his face. I mean, it's like transcendental. One of the fun memories I have of that video is I did a podcast not too long ago about Al, and they asked, like, when's the first time you saw that video? And I was thinking, I don't remember. I don't remember when I first saw it. And then I got off the podcast and I contacted Al and said, do you remember how you what happened, how you asked permission or what that was like? And he's like, Chris, you don't remember? This is Al talking. He says, I debuted the video for you on your tour bus in LA. And it's the only time I've ever debuted a video in person for the artist. It's the only time he's ever stood there with the artist and watched the video. Like, here it is. What do you think? He was super nervous, which is why he remembers it.
I can imagine. It's got to be a weird situation.
Well, the thing that's alarming is, I always kind of feel like there's so much in life to forget. And when you have a active life, you forget more. And if I can forget seeing myself portrayed by Weird Al, with Weird Al standing next to me in the room, then what else am I forgetting?
Possibly cool moments there.
What the hell?
I think there is a bit of surrealness to the whole thing for me.
Yeah.
It's the best word I can think of. I do remember as a kid, there was a couple other artists that were doing satire music, but the one I remembered was a guy named Dickie Goodman. And he would put together like 30 little clips of pop songs. And it'd be like an interview, and each answer, he interviews the shark from Jaws, and each answer is a song that's on the radio. I don't know how he got away with that, but there was a couple guys before Weird Al. I mean, Tom Lear is the comedy guy I remember my parents had it. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Tom Lear.
Oh, yeah. Tom Lear is genius. Absolute straight up genius.
Yeah. And then there's Ray Stevens. Oh, yes, they call him the Streak. Meow.
Of course.
It's so interesting how, and I'm really glad that, like, it seems like lately, I'm kind of in the Weird Al bubble. I like his stuff. I kind of keep tabs, but he's lasted a really long time. And when it comes to, so many people don't take comedy seriously, which is so lame. Like which sounds, like an asshole thing to say.
Funny about that.
It's kind of an oxymoron. But it's like they just don't. If something's funny or has humor, people tend to not fully think of it as art. They're like, oh, it can't be that good. But which is weird because humor is like one of the main human emotions that we go through, and it's something that connects all of us. And that's what I love about music in general, and specifically Weird Al. It's like Like, dude, music is the great connector between all different types of people. And then you add Weird Al into it. And if you didn't like a song before it, if Weird Al covers it, you know, you're either, you're just going to like one of those versions of it for sure. Otherwise, you're just terrible.
I actually kind of like Tacky better than Happy, frankly.
Yoda is better than Lola.
Yeah, I think the Tacky version of that song has a little more edge to it. You know, it's like it's a criticism. It's cutting, but it's also joyous. Whereas the Pharrell one is just like joyous through and through. So like, there's a little grit in the Al version, which I dig. You know, what you're saying is really true about like craft and being fun or funny. When we were signing with a major label, we narrowed the 7 labels that were into us down to Columbia and Maverick, which was Madonna's label. Yeah. And so we had a business meeting with Madonna. She came to see us live, and then we met with her, and that's a whole story. But it was great. She totally got what we were trying to do, and we were real close to signing with her, but for various reasons it didn't work out. But after the meeting, she kind of took me aside and she said, whether you sign with me or not, I just want to tell you that because you're fun and your music is, you know, funny and your lyrics are surreal and hilarious, you will never get critical respect for your craft. So just don't go around expecting people to pay attention to the fact that what you do is actually has craft and it's hard to do. And, you know, like you were saying earlier, Mike, the musicality of Weird Al, I definitely took a page out of that. Like I remember early on with the president saying to the guys, like, if we're going to be funny, we also have to be really good. We can't be funny and sloppy because then it doesn't work. Anyway, Madonna saved me a lot of heartache, really, because I took it to heart what she said and never expected any sort of stamp of approval from the critics for our craft, and saved me a lot of bruises, ego bruises.
That's pretty cool that she did that.
Right? Yeah, I thought it was really cool. You know, and I bet she suffered the same, you know, situation, you know, where she didn't get any sort of
wisdom from Madonna. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty bragging rights, my man.
That's pretty cool.
She was solid. I was working in the studio just yesterday with my tour manager, Janine, and she was kind of engineering and stuff. And she laughed at one of my lyrics, and then she apologized. And I thought, yeah, it's supposed to be funny. So there is that.
There's a whole stigma. Yeah. But I think, like you were saying, Al is just constant because I think he's only relating to his own universe. You know, but in a way, I guess he's got tethers out to the other parts of the universe because he's parodying known songs. But I don't know, presentation, craft wise, attitude wise, he's on Planet Al, you know, and if you want to hang out with him, you got to go to Planet Al. Sure. And I like that. I like the presidents never show up on any like top 100 bands of the 90s. And I love that because it's like we're invisible to everyone except the people that care, you know? Yeah. So we're like this little guarded secret for the people that give a shit.
Yeah, so we're here for the anniversary of Bad Hair Day, and besides your own,
it's the what anniversary?
Say what? For Bad Hair Day?
Yeah,
25th.
25th.
Huh, I said 50th. I was like,
anniversary.
Not yet, Dave.
I didn't know which one it was. I'm assuming 25, but yeah, I can't.
Yeah, it's 96. So actually 96. Yeah, 25.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So yeah. What's some of your favorite songs off the album that don't have anything to do with you? Mike, start with you.
Well, Gump is genius. The video is amazing, and the song is great. I mean, Al, he must be either double jointed or he must work out like a demon. I mean, he was doing those leg kicks over his head. Crazy. I mean, his foot goes over his freaking head. And I'm like, okay, that's not, you can't, men especially can't do that. We're not physiologically designed to do that. So that was impressive, but it's a really funny song. He nails it musically. The video's great. I really love that one. And I also really love the last track, the night Santa went.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember the exact title, but it's
The Night Santa Went Crazy.
Yeah. For all the Gentiles. It's absolute genius, and I really got a kick out of that. And then I guess the big hit was the first song, but I can't remember which one that was. Anyway, I'll go ahead.
Amish Paradise.
I mean, that's
it.
a piece.
It's pretty undeniably awesome. I like some of his originals. I like I'm So Sick of You. I think that's a great song. And it's really great harmonies. It's just, tongue in cheek. I'm not usually a fan of Here's What's Wrong with You songs, but when they're so beautifully candy coated, I can handle it.
Totally. That's a good, I'm actually going to think about that. The Here's What's Wrong with You songs. I never thought, well, I'm going to start listening to everything I listen to in a completely different way.
Yeah, if you take Here's What's Wrong with You out of early 80s LA hardcore, there's no lyrics. It's instrumental.
That changed my life, man. I'm going to get back to you about this.
Okay.
Dave, what about you, man?
I'm just writing a new song called Here's What's Wrong with You.
There you go. A list.
I have not had time to revisit the record, but I like the Amish Paradise and the.
It's unbelievable.
I wish I had a track list in front of me.
We did a little homework on the way back. We listened to it on the way back from the mountain today, and sweet.
Yeah, I hadn't listened to it since the 90s, so I gave it a spin, and that one definitely stuck out. The Soul Asylum song too is really good, and I went back and watched some of your old videos, Dave, and watched some of your stuff live, and you guys are rock solid, really good.
Why? Thank you.
It. Yeah, super hooky. I mean, I found myself just like dancing around my room here, freaking out. So well done. I like that song, Dave, because it feels like every single part is a chorus. It's just like, the moment you're sick of what you're singing something else. It's just like, bunga, 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 bunga.
It's funny. It's like you're hearing this thing. Well, that's a good chorus. And it's like, oh, wait, this is the chorus. So we haven't even had the chorus yet. Yeah, Syndicated Incorporated, really funny because all those TV shows, I mean, I was a child of the 60s and 70s TV, and all those shows he lists are shows that I love. And he's playing, he's listing these great TV shows to a song by a band that I love. And it connected with me really well.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Man, it's pretty turning off a Weird Al real quick, just because I got to ask you, you talked about that, how every part of the songs like a chorus, then another chorus, and another chorus. What were the 90s like being in the music industry? Jesus Christ. Like we were just music fans that we didn't start until a little bit later. And I listened to 90s music. I was like, dude, like the 50s and the 90s, just like what was in the water, man. You guys fucking such good songs.
Yeah, that's got to be the most competitive era of music. I mean, it's just, everything's a chorus.
Even songs that I straight up dislike, I cannot say they're bad songs. I'm like, it's just not for me right now, but it's a fucking fantastic song. Like the 90s were an amazing time and solely the reason I do what I do now. So thank you everyone for being on.
Which one is which one 90s, is Cavity Search?
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
I'm just wondering which one is Cavity Search? Now I'm looking at a set list. There's a song called
it's parody of Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me. Wait a minute, I'm looking at it on Spotify by U2.
Yeah, and it's from a dentist point of. It's like a guy goes to the dentist. He's like,
of course,
drill me, fill me,
bill me.
Of course.
Where does he come up with this stuff? Oh my god.
Yeah, genius.
I didn't know this about him until I read an interview. Well, actually, I think it was in New York Times Magazine. Did a thing. And he talked about how he writes lyrics and how he writes way, way, way too many lyrics for the song, and then is able to go back and really cherry pick the very best rhymes. And that really impressed me. And that actually changed the way I write. I now write way too many verses. and then inevitably, you know, 2 or 3 of them just aren't really on point with the intention of the song, and so I can get rid of them. But there might be a little nugget in the ones that go away that's, you know, saved.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to work. I really like it. Like, you don't have to worry about getting it right the first time you scribble everything down. Just vomit everything you've got and then make sense of it later.
That's gotta be so cool for his band too. Like, you were talking about like how good his band is, and he is just an absolute shredder, vocal and accordion, and like you got to be just so good covering or making parodies of, you know, the best musicians in the world. And I mean, they're covering the best. Are you guys friends? Do you guys know the band at all? We don't know his band really, and we haven't hung out with them much. The only time we've hung out, we were like playing with Al. We were kind of his band for one day, and so we haven't got to hang out with his band, but they're amazing. Do you guys know them?
I don't know them well. I've met all of them a couple times, you know, like backstage, but don't know any of them very well.
Yeah, I only know Kanye West from you know, picking up his Slack Key records. I saw Weird Al. I saw him on tour probably maybe 5 years ago. I was in Northport, Michigan, visiting friends, and he played the Northport Cherry Festival. And and I said, okay, this is just weird on top of weird. I'm in this weird part of Michigan where I've never been before. It's Weird Al's playing, and he's outdoors at a cherry festival. Sounds perfect. So we went to the show. It was amazing. It turns out the weird thing was his sound man, his front of house guy, was a guy that used to work for us back in the 80s named Scott Pike. Okay. And I heard this voice yell Mike, and I look over and it's him. I'm like, okay, this is just getting stranger by the second. And he did, the show was amazing. He did a costume change like maybe every other song. He would go off in the band to play a little while. He'd come on with something completely different. He used video a lot, and he had an interview that he did with Michael Stipe. I don't remember what it was, but it was some sort of like, almost like the Space Ghost interview that he did, that Michael did something. And so that played for a while he was off changing clothes. And it was just amazing. I mean, the band was super tight. Al has a great voice. I mean, he's an amazing singer. That's one thing that makes all this stuff work. He can hit the notes. He harmonizes with himself. He comes up with beautiful, amazing harmonies. I mean, the thing is, it's like, it's pleasurable to listen to this stuff, even without marveling at how clever the lyrics are. It's musically and talent-wise worth listening to on its own. And then when you add the genius lyrics in there, it's just the total package.
Yeah. I remember Al telling me one time that during that phase, when the costume changes and the videos and everything was run by this bank of computers backstage, the lights and everything. And one night, all that stuff would not work. It all fell apart before the show. And he said they had the greatest show that night because they didn't do any costume changes. They just played songs. It got a little like he was caught in a cage of, you know, cues. And he broke out one night and just loved it. So
that's probably happened at least once to every band. I mean, there's a legendary R.E.M. show early on where we played this place called Barrymore's in Ottawa, I think. And the crowd were such assholes, or maybe one guy was just an asshole. We said, okay, fuck you. We're just going to play covers for the rest of the night. And we did a whole set. The whole rest of the show was just covers. That's all we did. And it was one of the most fun shows we've ever had. The crowd loved it. And, you know, that happened a couple of times. I think it's really good for a band to every once in a while just shake off the professionalism and just have a good time. It's just like you were doing rehearsal.
Yeah, totally.
We're a big fan of like, if you like go out on stage and slip and fall, it's a good thing because like rock bottom is like solid ground and it's only up from there. We really true. Like when something messes up and it's like, well, fuck it, let's just have a good time now. And kind of takes a little bit of the weight off of it. Speaking of covers, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, excuse me. No, you're right, because you don't have anything to live up to after that. It's like, okay, well, they know I'm not some super great rock star. I'm just another putz on stage, and I might as well just live it up.
Well, that's what I love about Iggy Pop. Because I feel like Iggy Pop is both Weird Al, he's a dork, and he's Robert Plant. He's like a rock god. He's like a dork and a god crushed together. So he can slip and fall and still, like, command the thunder of the heavens.
Well, the great thing is he'll probably have his dick out while he does it, so it's even better.
Yeah. Exactly. We Presidents played one show with the Stooges in Europe. It was a one-off. We flew all the way to the Netherlands just to play with the Stooges, and I'm so glad I did. It was amazing. And seeing him up close like that, that's when I really was like, oh, I get it. He's a complete fool and he's a god. He's the whole spectrum. It's wonderful.
That's true.
Have any of you guys ever thrown in, especially in the 90s when his parodies were big? Did you guys ever slip in his versions or anything from into your sets?
Oh yeah, we ended Lump with
totally. Yeah. Okay, you said that. Yeah.
His sign off. And that's all I have to say about that. That became part of how we did the song, as a little tip of the hat.
So good, yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. In fact, I forgot that after doing it that way for so long, I forgot that was Al's contribution.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's good. And, we've had him up on stage and played with him. One time we were on tour and we knew we were coming to LA, and I kind of concocted. So as I was writing the songs that became the debut record of ours, I would literally wake up every morning and the sun was gone. I'd put on some music to start my day. I'd lose myself in a familiar song. I put on More Than a Feeling every morning as I wrote. For some reason, that song kind of grounded me. I was like, this is, it's schlocky, but it's really satisfying. It's all visceral satisfaction. It's just this candy coating on candy. It's just like candy on candy on candy. And so we're coming out to LA, and I just got this idea, Al, why don't we have you up on stage to play accordion, and we'll do More Than a Feeling. And so we're back and forth talking on the phone, figuring out the key. And all of our instruments are in C sharp, which weirdly is kind of the key of all grunge. We found out later. We only had them in C sharp because the strings worked. And
no one told me that.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'd be on tour with the radio on, and it was like the latest hit or whatever, and we'd have our guitars out. We're like, oh, this one's at C sharp too. What the hell? So anyway, he went out and broke his rule against digital accordions. He had to go buy a digital accordion because he couldn't play the song in C sharp. It's a very awkward key for the keyboard.
Yeah.
And we worked it out, and we rehearsed it once at sound check, and it's not an easy song to pull off. And he sang the lead, and he just nailed it. There's a really terrible recording of it on YouTube that you can check out. But
I'll be checking that out directly after this.
And I had a fan on me because I'd get too hot, and you can't tell there's wind on me because I got no hair. But then Al stood at my mic for the song, and so the fan was just, his hair is just ever since then he has a fan on stage. He said, I learned that night the power of the fan. It's so great. So that was a fun memory.
Now, I have a question, Chris. More Than a Feeling, does that not have a really long instrumental intro?
Oh no, that's Foreplay Long Time. That's the other
wrong song. I was thinking that was
yeah, that's the whole prog rock.
The accordion.
Yeah. Well, he could probably pull it off. I mean, yeah.
Oh, there's no question he could. I love Al's video of Classical Gas, where he's out by his pool just playing classical gas on his accordion, and it's stunning.
Wow, I've never seen that.
Oh yeah, you got to YouTube that. It's amazing.
Mike, you play the accordion, right, Mike?
I don't play the buttons. I only play the keys, and that's not really playing the accordion. But I can sort of make it breathe and play simple figures at the same time. Just don't ask me to do very much. And no, you can't play anything in C sharp on the accordion.
Right.
No.
I have an accordion that has less buttons, not the billion buttons that are
like a concertina kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a concertina. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, and I found something out. The strap broke. An accordion without a strap is
is firewood.
Yeah, you can't play it on your lap. I mean, you know.
No.
I went through a box before we started and found this. It's the CD single.
All right.
Yeah. And he parodied, not only did he parody us, but he parodied our album art. All this is like a mimicking the album art. Pretty good.
That'd be so fun.
A little box of memorabilia I've got lying around. You know, I'll tell a story. Our friendship was kind of born out of controversy, actually. So we were going to go to the American Music Awards, Dick Clark's version of the Grammys, kind of, or, you know, award show. And we were doing the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, and people came backstage before that and said, hey, you're going to present at the American Music Awards. We're not sure what yet, but here's a list of other presenters. And do you want to, you know, pick anybody that you don't want to present with? And I looked at the list and I was fine with whatever. I don't care who it was going to be. My bandmates said they didn't want to present with Weird Al. They had an idea that I think in our band there kind of became a split. Like I think a couple of us were taking it a little seriously maybe, and I was not. And I think they saw the association as maybe not a great association. And so, but it's a democracy. We were very much a democracy. So I said, okay, you know, like 2 against 1, we won't do that. So we arrive at the American Music Awards and we get the instructions about what we're doing, and we're presenting with Weird Al. And at the time we'd been through enough of like compromising, like doing things we didn't really want to do, that the other 2 guys in the band snapped and they're like, we're leaving. And they just left. And with the democracy being what it was, I couldn't go present with Weird Al by myself. So I had to say, you know, all right, well, I guess we can't do it. I stayed for the show, and you know, I don't remember if he presented alone or with somebody else, but anyway, after the show is when I think I ran into him, you know, like at the after party, and we bonded over kind of me apologizing for what went, because I think he knew that happened, and Dick Clark's people were going to kill us, and they were all super mad. So I had to go apologize to Weird Al and apologize to Dick Clark and kind of make sure that we weren't in, you know, big trouble and do some reparations. But I guess Al and I kind of bonded over the experience of the drama of the sort of rocky beginning to our friendship.
That's pretty amazing.
I hope I didn't throw my other bandmates under the bus by telling them.
Oh, you did.
That's cool with you standing by him, though.
Dave and Jason, I'm sorry, but yes, right. I didn't break the democratic rules, so you know.
We're more of a dickmocracy over here. Half dictatorship, half democracy. You know, it's kind of
right.
Somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot I got one. Oh, this is not good. We were playing Universal Amphitheater. I think it might have even still been outdoors at this time. And back in those days, I was really a fan of tequila shots. And I kind of completely forgot about this for good reason. And Al was there backstage, and I sought him out, or I don't know if he came up to me, and we were talking. And after a little while, I probably had 1 or 6 too many tequila shots, and he excused himself. I said, oh man, I just drove Weird Al away because I drank too much tequila. How many people have ever actually driven him away? And I felt just awful about it. And I forgot that we had actually met. And that was probably back in the 80s. So the fact that he still is willing to communicate with me is a sign of good character on his part.
I think he's probably like, he knows, he clearly hangs out with a lot of people that do what we do and do the things that we do. And so I imagine he's pretty used to that. Yeah. When I met him, it was one of the worst hangovers I've ever had. That was his fault. He got me.
Oh, wow.
He looked guilty.
Oh yeah. He like purposefully, I left the bar we were at because I was getting too drunk, and I kind of like snuck out, went back to the hotel, and he found me in the lobby and just got me. Yeah, it was bad. We set up, we were doing rehearsals with him the next day because for a Bonnaroo announcement, he was doing the whole announcement, and they made like this whole wacky game show out of it. And we talked we talked, they talked him and us into this thing where like he was gonna sit in and jam with us during one of our songs, and then we were gonna be his backup band for one of his songs. And that was kind of an amazing moment too, because we hadn't met him yet. That was the first time we did anything. And the night before we were flying out, I was sitting in my living room, and we're just like, oh yeah, we gotta like learn this Weird Al song before we go. And so we sit down to learn it, and we just had to think like, I wonder if he's sitting down like learning our song right now. Oh, that's pretty weird, man. And I was crazy hungover, and it was it was best. And out of we've got to meet some really cool people, and he was one of two that I actually like got like nervous around, not just the hangover, but I was like kind of starstruck, as like he was one of the only ones that I ever was like a gulp. Like it was just I've been a fan like since I was a kid. I don't remember when I first saw him, but like ever since I remember anything about music, Weird Al's pretty much been there. And so it's pretty nuts. And but yeah.
You reminded me, Mike, when you were talking about the tequila situation and that Al was gracious after that. I had one too. I had like a few too many scotches one night, and it involves you actually, Mike. I didn't even think of that till I started telling this, but I'm sitting there with my third, fourth, fifth scotch, and suddenly a parody idea occurs to me. And I call Al, and Al, I've got the greatest idea. And little did I know, of course, that he never accepts, he never accepts parody ideas from other people. But I wanted it to do a parody of Everybody Hurts called Everybody Poops. And the video would essentially be the same. It'd be people in their cars with the subtitles, but the subtitles would be like, I should have gone before I left the house.
I really got to go, man.
I really got to go. I'm not going to make it. And they're all stuck in traffic. And then I'm pitching them on it. Like the big final shot is like the salt desert in Utah. And that's like a camera going 180 miles an hour. And in the distance, you see a porta potty, super small, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the camera snaps up to the porta potty. The door kicks open. And it's the part of the song where it's everybody poops, and then door open sometimes. So hold on. And of course, I do this whole pitch, and there's dead silence on the other end of the line. And he just kind of says, Chris, I do not accept parody ideas from other people. And then reality flooded in, and I was like, oof, I've made a terrible error.
Yeah. Fortunately, I think it's water off a duck's back.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, after I hung up the phone, I thought, okay, that's it. He doesn't want to hang out with me anymore. I'm a drunken buffoon. But it was cool. It was cool.
But you weren't the first or the last.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I could tell another story. I almost caught his hair on fire.
Oh, all right. Let's go. Let's hear this. I'm out of ideas, so you just keep running.
I got like another half dozen stories.
Yeah.
I went to his house for dinner in LA with my wife, and I don't remember what year it was, but he had the full hair going on. I think it was post-mustache years. And side note, he lives in the hills above Sunset, and we drove by Blue Jay Way of Beatles fame, which was kind of a thrill. So we go to his house. His house was previously owned by a rapper. I don't remember which rapper, but it was a very austere, ostentatious, party house. And it had a funky fireplace. The fireplace was gas, and it had like a bed of rocks, and then a pane of glass for a front with a gap between the glass and the fireplace, about, that big. And at one point in the evening, I was like, hey, Al, what does this fireplace look like lit? Because it had like blue glass in it or something. And he's like, you know what? I never lit it. And so, as his wife was off in the other room putting their child to bed, and Kate was off, my wife was off somewhere else, Al and I are trying to figure it out. And we get the key and the gas supply, right? And we turn on the gas, and he's got a match, and he wasn't sure how to light it. And it's not lighting and not lighting and not lighting. And time's going on, and Kate comes back in, and she's like, well, yeah, you guys might want to back away. And then right then, just this fireball comes flying out of the fireplace and engulfs Al's head, and he goes flying backwards. And my first thought was, oh my God, I've
killed Weird Al.
I've destroyed. Well, even worse, I've destroyed his hair. It's gonna come back and look like a shoe on his head. But luckily, nothing happened. You know, he had all his eyebrows and hair was intact.
Yeah.
But man, it like, you know, put the fear of God in me. I was like, I'm never lighting a gas fire around that guy again.
That is pretty amazing. Oh my God. Yeah, totally.
Good memories, man. My wife also took his Segway and drove it all over his house that night. But his house is full of art. He's got a great eye for art. He's got some original Dr. Seuss sculptures, if I remember right.
Wow.
Yeah, really cool shit.
Amazing.
And his wife, Suzanne, is a great photographer. Follow her on Instagram. She's got an amazing eye. I feel like she should be making every album cover ever in the world because she's just got this like album cover eyeball.
All right, I'll check that out. Absolutely. That's one of my hobbies. Yeah, that's great.
I emailed him last night and I said, you know, we're going to get together and talk about this album. Can you sum up the album in 7 to 9 words? I only said that because I didn't want to impose on him to write like paragraphs, but he wrote back. He said, I'll tell you what he wrote. He said, I just found out this was happening and wow, I'm kind of blown away. What a panel. That's amazing. Please give Mike and Dave my best. And I have no idea how to sum up any of my albums in 7 to 9 words. I guess all my albums are kind of bizarro pop culture time capsules. So Bad Hair Day would be the 1996 version of that. I'm afraid there's never any high concept going on with my albums. It's all just random goofiness. But don't let me stop you from waxing poetic. Thanks in advance for doing this, man. I'm so honored. Good luck. Have fun. Can't wait to watch. So careful what you say.
Hi, Weird Al, man.
Hey, Al, we're watching.
I was gonna say hey to Weird Al for me, but I guess if he's watching, hey, what's up, man? Well, if I could put forward on Chris and Lord Millsy's behalf, I think it's the quality of the material.
Clearly.
You're asking who hasn't been, what do you expect to say? Come on.
Yeah. You pick a song that's all choruses. What do you expect?
But it's just funny. You got to smash album.
Yeah. Boy, I don't know. I mean, I think it's the hairdo. Personally, he switched it to him. He had always kind of had a thing, and then he went real crazy. You're like, oh, I'm gonna buy that. Yeah. Well, it's a good cross section of all of his strengths. You know, the parodies are great. The originals are great. The production is super crisp and satisfying. You know, those tight during the polka thing, those tight harmonies.
Oh God, that polka medley is just the coolest thing ever. I mean, I could listen to that every day and never get tired of it.
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, you think about him doing like 5-part harmony and it only happens for like 1 second.
Yeah.
You're like, what? How did that take? That took like 2 hours, you know,
It's
like looking at a really amazing, rug or tapestry or folk art, something that took 1,000,000 years to make. Like, I can't think of it.
It's like a Yes album in like 3 minutes. It's crazy. It's just like, so technical.
It starts with for me it's a time capsule too because it starts with Loser, and I was in Beck's band back I was in his first 2 tours. In fact, Mike, Joey Waronker was the drummer in that band. So we
poached him.
Seriously, I just hopped in because I too, the reason I put this together is I too am a giant Weird Al fan. Bad Hair Day is literally the first CD I ever purchased with my own money. I remember I'm also a concert photographer when there's concerts to photograph. And I actually saw him with you guys at Bonnaroo. I saw all the crap that you guys, Portugal, did with him. I remember waiting at that secret stage forever just because I knew what was going to happen. But yeah, I shot him at Governor's Ball in New York a couple years ago. He played, and he was doing the full costume change thing. And I'm such a nerd. that I was. Oh, actually, this was Bonner. But anyway, I'm such a nerd that I'm singing everything as I'm photographing it, having the time of my life in the photo pit. And Weird Al is one of the most gracious people of all time. Knowing that he does all these costume changes, he lets photographers stay in the photo pit for the entire set, which is not a thing. I'm sure you guys know it's 3 songs, you're out. But he lets us stay there the whole time. So I'm there the whole time flipping out. And when he gets into the fat costume, he's doing the whole bit. And then at one point he just goes, "Now tell me once again," and points right at me. It just points right at my camera and goes, "Who's fat?" and gives me this shot that I don't have it printed anywhere, but it's this glorious full length shot of him in full fat garb pointing right at my camera. And I just about died. I was like, "That's
You gotta send that to us."
yeah, I'll pull it out. It's one of my favorite all time photos, and just knowing that he must have seen me because he zeroed in on my camera and gave me that. And also, Mike, to what you said a little while ago, that "Night Santa Went Crazy" is one of your favorite songs on the record. Mine too. I've done it at karaoke a dozen times. I think it's an amazing song, and I actually just learned that it's a style parody of Soul Asylum. It's Black Gold.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I was curious about that.
Yeah.
As a short side, I would like to say that there's been younger fans of my band who have come up to me and said, "I discovered your band through a Weird Al record." So thanks, Al.